Coming up on the Angus Report, growing feed yard inventories and trends moving into late summer and fall.
USDA releases requirements for U.S. beef into China.
The American Angus Association unveils major enhancements to its weekly cattle evaluation, including single-step methodology.
Troy Hadrick explains how times of transition also mean opportunity for improvement. And we celebrate freedom by traveling to the Tokash Angus Ranch in North Dakota.
This is the Angus Report. Hello and welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Jenna McCrell.
Our top news this week. The nation's cattle feeders have experienced large inventory gains so far in 2017 and look for the trend to continue through the late summer and fall. According to a recent USDA cattle on feed report, total on feed numbers are nearing 11 million head, a volume not seen since 2013. Beef Marketing Group CEO John Butler shares insight into the recent growth in the feeding sector.
We look to having more cattle available as we go into the spring and the fall. The placements on fat cattle or cattle going into feed yards like this facility has been very high, above on the index above 100, and that basically turns into feed yards like this one are full. We think that from a feed yard standpoint, we're going to have plenty of feeder cattle made available to us. Those numbers look very strong, and obviously we're looking forward to that because there's more feeder cattle for us to choose from to keep our feed yards full as we go into the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture recently posted requirements for exporting U.S. beef into China, opening a key trade market that's been closed for more than 13 years. The U.S. Meat Export Federation reports that the requirements for China go beyond those imposed by most international destinations for U.S. beef and will include testing for residues from synthetic hormones and beta antagonists. However, there are still many positives in the U.S.-China agreement, and USMEF Senior Vice President for Trade Access, Thad Lively, explains.
A number of areas of the agreement, frankly, turned out a lot better than many of us thought they would, even just several months ago. We have access to the Chinese market under better terms than any other beef exporting country. We're going to have access for far more of the carcass than any of our competitors. That's a big win for all of us. And we will have access for chilled beef. And this is going to be critically important because the customers we're looking at, especially early on, are going to be high-end food service and retail customers in China, and they're going to be looking for chilled beef. And of course, U.S. beef is going to be positioned in that market at the very top of the market, highest quality product available. And to the extent that we are able to ship chilled, that always helps in terms of establishing our reputation for quality and for having the freshest imported beef in the market.
Visit usmef.org for more on U.S. beef exports to China.
The American Angus Association is home to the industry's largest, most comprehensive genetic evaluation, and now Angus Genetics Incorporated is taking even greater strides to improve its accuracy and precision. Major enhancements to the evaluation are being released Friday, July 7th, and include the use of innovative single-step methodology. Angus breeders will notice updates to genetic parameters, economic assumptions, and the result of much more added data into the evaluation, now based on more than 300,000 genotypes. Later in the show, we sit down with AGI's Stephen Miller, who explains what breeders need to know about the new and improved genetic evaluation. Be sure to stay tuned for that discussion.
The world's largest cattle feeding operation will soon be seeking new ownership. Global leader JBS recently announced plans to sell its Five Rivers feedlot business, which has a one-time capacity of 980,000 head. The JBS parent company in Brazil has faced much controversy over the past 6 months, and according to the Denver Post, plans to sell $1.8 billion in assets to shore up its cash position following a corruption settlement signed in May. The move to sell Five Rivers is part of an aggressive divestment plan that also includes a dairy and poultry operation, one in Brazil and one in Europe. JBS has owned Five Rivers cattle feeding since 2008, and the operation helps drive supply to the company's beef processing facilities. Cargill, another major feeder, also recently exited the business, selling its remaining feedlots to Green Plains Incorporated. We'll share more on this story as it develops.
With the summer season upon us and temperatures on the rise, it's important to take steps to properly manage cattle and reduce heat stress. A vital part of that is monitoring water intake. Making sure cattle have plenty of access to clean water is critical in order to maintain body condition and overall productivity. K-State animal scientist Cashley Alberg is conducting a research study on water intake and utilization, including potential genetic influences, and shares this advice for producers in order to make the most of their water supply.
Being able to provide shade, putting water maybe not in direct sunlight where it's fresh, the water stays cooler, so when they do drink it, it helps lower body temperature quicker. When animals incur more heat, they drink 2 to 3 times more water than they normally would do if it's cooler. So understanding how much water animals use could maybe help us better manage resources if we know how much water we'll need in an area if you're providing water. So just have enough water available that animals could accurately relieve heat load and still perform during these hot months.
Alberg was a featured speaker during the recent Beef Improvement Federation in Athens, Georgia. Visit bifconference.com for more coverage from the Angus Media team.
Registration is now officially open for the American Angus Association's premier event of the year, the Angus Convention. It's hosted November 4th through the 6th in Fort Worth, Texas. Angus breeders, commercial cattle producers, and others will head to the Lone Star State for a weekend of learning, networking, and looking to the future for the beef cattle business. Go online to angusconvention.com today to complete your registration and hotel reservations. And if you act before July 14th, you'll be entered to win a complimentary conference registration and hotel accommodations courtesy of the American Angus Association. For more on what's planned at this year's Angus Convention, reference the convention insert in your July Angus Journal or visit angus.org to access a digital copy.
When we return, rancher Troy Hadrick shares his family's experience working through generations to improve quality.
Then we're joined by Stephen Miller of Angus Genetics Incorporated to discuss the progressive enhancements to the breed's genetic evaluation.
Visit angus.media to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.
Forward. It's more than a direction. It's mandatory because the beef business rewards the progressive, the doers, the ones who know what it takes to go easy on cattle and never set them back. So set your eyes on the horizon, turn your back to the wind, and move your herd the only way you know. Forward. Vista Vaccines. Always ahead.
Today's beef consumer has questions. BQA has the answers. Your Beef Quality Assurance certification allows you to share a story that assures customers that you are responsibly raising a safe, wholesome, and healthy beef supply. Becoming BQA certified just became even more convenient with a new interactive training experience that is online and available 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Get started today by visiting bqa.org.
Hi, I'm Red Stegall. I'd like to invite you to the 2017 Angus Convention, November 4th through the 6th, right here in historic Fort Worth. It's also open to all cattle producers, whether you own Angus cattle or not. Now you'll enjoy 4 days of Texas hospitality, a ranch tour, an industry-leading trade show, and some of the best educational opportunities in the business. But best of all, you'll get to be with your Angus family, celebrating the successes of the breed and charting a course for the future.
Did you know that your checkoff works to grow demand for U.S. beef in more than 80 countries? Did you know export markets add more than $250 in value to each head? Did you know your checkoff works to develop, defend, and dispel in an effort to expand international markets? While you're focused on managing your beef business, your checkoff is developing new foreign markets and defending those where U.S. beef is currently sold. Get to know your checkoff at mybeefcheckoff.com.
To me, it's always been relaxing to be in with a bunch of cows. I love my cows very much. Our ranch is located southwest of Muleshoe, Texas. We have about 350 head of mama cows. I'm not a geneticist, and so it's nice to have somebody who's dedicated to that to help me choose better cattle to keep. We started using GeneMax for the first time last year. I think it was in February that we drew blood and we sent it in on 300 head of cattle.
GeneMax is helping us pair our 50 replacement heifers with the right sires, and we're just getting a huge improvement on each cow, and our herd is growing. 80% of our decision is based off of GeneMax's reports. It's just a huge tool to have, and it's worth the money invested in it.
GeneMax is incredible that way. It's amazing what you can find out and what they're continually improving.